Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the World of Football podcast here on the Dugout Football channel. Hope you've all had a fantastic weekend, and we are back to talk loads of football. So many controversial decisions, along with an amazing League Cup final that took place yesterday at Wembley Stadium. So we've got loads to get through. I know the panel looks a bit short now, but we are due to have more people arrive with us eventually. Reece and Doug will be joining us. Reece is running late, and Doug had a late shift, but he will be with us eventually, and that is why I am hosting tonight. I'm back from the dead. I'm alive, after some people's beliefs. Now, before I introduce the rest of the guests, I do want to please bring your attention to something that we will be doing on this podcast. I spoke to everybody associated with the World of Football podcast in our Twitter group chat, and along with everything, of course, that everybody knows that is going on in Ukraine, I've come up with the idea that all of us on the panel will today be wearing a blue color t-shirt, shirt, whatever it may be, and as we can also see on your screen, that the overlay of the stream is yellow. This is obviously in solidarity, respect, and stand up and with Ukraine. And the horrible stances is currently taking place in Russia. 5 days in, many lives have lost, and as much as I wish, obviously, I think everybody wish we could do more. This is the most. I felt like it was only right that we showed our support to Ukraine in any way possible. So, Mr. Reece joined us. So, let's introduce the panel of the show today. It's the usual four. It's the usual 4+5 when Doug eventually joins us. Starting off with Nathan. How you doing, Nathan?
I'm not too bad, Josh. Good to see you back, pal. Thanks for having me on, of course. There's one thing that is certain at the moment. Cardiff City matches getting ruined by biased referees. We were robbed on Saturday. Thanks for having me on.
Then also got the man who actually, I swear, George, I actually think you look about 15 years younger than last time I took part in this podcast. I hope you're doing very well, my friend. A long time no speak. How's your week been?
Yeah, obviously terrible news, as we know, in Europe, and just want to sort of echo the words that you spoke about. Obviously, solidarity for Ukraine against Russia in this conflict. Let's hope it can be resolved as quickly as possible. But otherwise, obviously in football, a disappointing week for Manchester United, as we know. Thank you for having me on, and good to see you back as well, Josh.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, it is Reece, again, someone who I haven't actually spoke to in ages as well. Basically spoke to anybody in the chat or on the show. Reece, you still the madman that you are?
I'm many things, but mad isn't one of them. How dare you?
Well, I don't care. Well, it's my show today, so I can call you whatever I want. So everybody, as I said,
claims it's his show. Claims it's his show. We all know who it really belongs to.
Liz Gordon also started with Ukraine, of course. Please, any comments regarding Ukraine in a respectful way is more than welcome, and it's absolutely great to say I stand with Ukraine, as we all do. I said we will probably be doing this. Is probably if. Obviously, nothing has changed next week. I can't see us changing what we're doing next week. Is obviously all support and respect to Ukraine will continue as events go on. Even in Reds fans, congratulations to Liverpool. Commission to Josh. I'll get on to that. I'm not going to get on. Good to see you, Josh. Thank you very much. Heartwarming scenes of Goodison Park before kickoff. Poor thing. Yeah, it's very, very tough on footballers at the moment. Fair play to West Ham for giving Yarmolenko some time off. And obviously, I thought it was one of the best finals I've seen in a long time. Yes, we will get on to that. Evening, chaps. Thank you very much. And hello with a bird. Love and support to Ukraine. Absolutely loving these messages. Do keep these messages coming in throughout the show. I'll put every single one of them up and give it as much love and support as what we're doing right now. So anyway, we start off with the good old fashioned Premier League roundup. Feels like a long time since I've done this. I do apologize to anybody if I'm a bit rusty because I have not done a proper podcast in a very, very long time. So let's start off with some of the stats for these games. Let's start off with the early kickoff that took place on Saturday. Tottenham Hotspur 4, Leeds United 0. This will be Marcelo Bielsa's final game in the Premier League, as Leeds United are very, very much into a relegation scrap, only 2 points ahead of Burnley, with Burnley having 2 games in hand. Leeds may very well be going down. George, I'll come off with you. You seem to be the most tactical, detailed man here on this panel, so I think this is right down your alley. Marcelo Bielsa's stubborn tactics led him to no longer being the manager of Leeds United. You could probably see this coming a long way from even a few months ago, when maybe sacking Bielsa was, seen as, if you said Bielsa's going to get sacked, you were seen as probably a bit stupid. You didn't know what you're talking about. But here we go. He's gone, and you can't really have any complaints, can you? Because that Leeds defense is probably worse than Norwich's now.
Yeah, obviously Leeds, as you spoke about, perilously close to the drop zone. As we know, even since last week, sort of iteration, Burnley have done what Burnley do, picking up points and made that drop, even more likely for Leeds. Obviously, minimise that, or reduce the gap to only a couple of points, as you've spoken about. Leeds have made the sensible decision. I mean, ultimately, there's no reason to keep a manager if when survival's on the line. That's more important than anything. Any sort of like feelings or affection towards Bielsa has to be put to one side, because, like I said, Premier League survival is the most important thing. The only thing is, I'm obviously very glad that we managed to Manchester United managed to play them before they got rid of him, because it was nice for us to be able to actually pick up a win. And obviously score a few goals, but ultimately, I think things have come to a head over the last week or so. As you spoke about, the defence has been leaking goals in left and right, and ultimately in that game again, absolutely atrocious defending at almost every single stage. Defenders all over the place. No type of adaptation by Bielsa whatsoever. No flexibility. Just completely rigid in his approach and his tactics. And Leeds have, pulled the trigger at the correct time. So I do anticipate that, obviously, with a new manager, they will get the results, I think, to stay out of there, because I'm still going to remain with the same 3 teams getting relegated or started out the season with, which was Brentford, Norwich, and Watford. So I expect Leeds to somehow to get out of it still.
Just to say hello to Maisie. Thank you for coming into the chat. Hello, Yeti boy. Just hello, Josh. Hello, Neil. Doug will be with us. He's just coming back from work, so I think he's getting a quick bit of food and he'll be with us. But I'm hosting tonight. I think he says this voice needs a bit of a break after that hell of a stream he did yesterday. Reece, we'll come to you. Obviously, I know you have a very strong opinion about particular managers across the footballing world. Marcelo Bielsa, you kind of did say it. You probably even said, I think, at the back of the last season, that you did not think Marcelo Bielsa would probably stay at Leeds United beyond what is currently the season.
That's right.
He's a manager who got figured out, exposed, didn't have an answer, and rightly got sacked, because Leeds are, at the moment, judging on form, were favourites to go down.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I didn't think Bielsa would last this season. Like, I saw it coming. It's just the sense that he didn't anticipate. He stuck with a young defence, and a defence that has no backbone at all. They didn't have, people are going to say, oh, injuries this, injuries that. I couldn't care less. Frankly, you have to anticipate his style of play. You've got to anticipate injuries. If you don't anticipate, it doesn't matter if you get injuries or not, you're fucked, like your own way. It's simple as that. So if anybody honestly tries to defend Leeds in the sense of they've had injuries to key players, then you need to give your head a wobble, because frankly, it's his choice. He chose not to bring in depth to his squad. So as far as I'm concerned, they've shot themselves in the foot, and he burns his team out to the extent that's his own choice. So it's good. Obviously for us, it's good that we got 6 points off them, 4 off them last season. So Bielsa's good at giving us at least 10 points out of 12. It's something he's only ever realistically good at, besides having a little bit of an attractive style of football. It's just now Leeds are where they are because they didn't anticipate. They've got a very rich owner. They just chose not to spend. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't care. And the guy that I said was going to get the job, he's just been appointed. So wait till Leeds suffer under this guy.
So Doug just led us on to a perfect. I literally was going to say to Nathan. So for everybody who, I'm assuming everybody may or may not know, Jesse March. Jesse March.
awful.
He was the manager of Salzburg. He left Salzburg. He joined RB Leipzig.
Don't even bring up that appointment.
He took up an RB Leipzig team who was top 4 pretty much to mid-table, and I think they had one of the worst defenses in the Bundesliga. I think Jesse March, right, the way I see Jesse March is very, very simple. I think he has the same philosophy and ideas of Marcelo Bielsa, but he's a shitter, worse, and younger version of Marcelo Bielsa. His defensive record at RB Salzburg and RB Leipzig is just as bad as what Bielsa's record is with Leeds. So, hypothetically, you're not really changing anything, and hypothetically, you're buying a manager who isn't going to be qualified to fix the problems that clearly need fixing.
Exactly, and the thing I want to know is, what is it with Premier League clubs appointing American managers, well, for clubs that I absolutely despise? I mean, agent Bob Bradley was planted by Vincent Tan to ruin Swansea, and then he appoints him at LAFC. That was quality when he did an awesome job. And now Jesse March going to old dirty Leeds, as I like to call them. It's not... I mean, Marcelo Bielsa, like, everyone's hit the point nail on the head, really. Burns his teams out. Well, he likes to get the young players playing, but he demands too well. There's a line, I think, when you demand it from your squad. He goes above here with the line, burns his players out, ends up getting them injured because he's just putting too much strenuous on the players. Too stubborn to bring anyone in, because that is what Marcelo Bielsa is like. He is stubborn in that way. They have a budget at Leeds. They have very rich owners, as everyone said, but he was just so stubborn and did not realize the predicament that they were in the end. And then now this has happened. Do I feel bad for them? No, I think it's absolutely hilarious. Feel bad for Bielsa because he had a real stressful relationship there. But looking at my predictions now, from what I saw at the start of the season, looking at what they've got now, the motivation's just going to go like that in the marsh for me. Their defense is going to get worse. And if I'm honest, I think Leeds might actually get relegated here.
Defense going to get worse. You had no idea what
how can it get worse?
That's the thing. You had no idea what I had to endure for 6 months.
Well, Reece, I will come to you. As Andrew said, Josie, you had to watch RB Leipzig under Jesse March. The Champions League campaign he had was an absolute failure. The league was even worse. He's a manager he's managed RB Salzburg, but if I'm not mistaken, he probably had one of the best Salzburg teams or squads they probably had. So it wasn't hard to
Europa League semi-finals.
It wasn't particularly hard to do bad with that team. He's managed a lot of MLS teams in America, which I guess isn't too much out to the CV. And then his first proper test at Leipzig was an utter failure. So, do you really see him succeeding at Leeds?
Absolutely not, mate. He ain't going to succeed. He took a team that was second in the Bundesliga last year, best defense in the league, overall best attack in the league, bar Bayern Munich. He took them from second to 11th. He took them from second place to 11th. He had them eliminated in the group stage of the Champions League, finished third, offered nothing except that game where they battered City. And rightfully so, he got sacked. The day he got sacked, I was actually jumping up and down my bedroom. I was actually buzzing that he got sacked. He's fucking shit. See, for a Leeds fan, I hate your club, but honest to God, yous are in for a worse ride. He doesn't know how to coach a defence. His style of football, he isn't commanding as a manager. He's actually, he's not even, put it nicely, he's spineless. He is spineless. The only reason he got a decent job at Leipzig is because, one, he was Ralph Rangnick's assistant manager, and two, he has the same style of football. The difference is one's a better manager, the other's just, sitting in a dirty job. What can I say? He's not that good. Honestly, his style of football isn't good enough either, because he's supposed to be about possession football. It's all about possession football, but his problem is he cannot actually coach his teams to be very active with the ball. Look at Christophe Nkunku as an example. Best French player in football right now for a French player. He's the best player in French football. You can argue me all you want. I'll just put you down. 20 goals this season, 15 assists. But that's only because of Dominic Tedesco. He had 5 goals and 3 assists under Jesse Marsch, and that was in all competitions. He was struggling to play at number 10, his best position. Now he's flourishing purely because he's trying to fit these players in, trying to tell them, a back 3 isn't the way to go for this club. It's a back 4. He got it completely wrong. Trying to tell people, I play football is the right way. It's not. It's actually very tedious style of football. So if you're a Leeds fan, you're used to exciting football and watching your teams getting burnt out. You're going to watch your teams being boring for a little while, and I'm not joking. You can speak about it in a tactical sense. You can speak about it in a full-on analytical sense, like a pundit would, because they're all blind anyway, because they're all Leeds fans' arses. But put it on the line. I watched him for 6 months, and he bored me to death. He bored me to death. That's how you're going to sum it up in the best way possible. He's not that good a manager. For once in my lifetime, I'm going to say I feel sorry for Jesse Marsch, because he has to go to work in that club where he's going to get absolutely hounded out by one of the worst jobs in football. Good luck to him, but he's fucked.
We will come back to Leeds, I believe. For Doug has told me there's meant to be a Leeds fan called Carl Levy of apologies for mispronouncing his name.
Mm-hmm. He's a good guy.
So we will come back to Leeds. But before we do, I just have to give an honourable mention to this absolute legend. He will never be forgotten. What a man. Poor man. He was a lovable wee character. Now I probably won't see him again. So good luck. He was
Bielsa. He was Bielsa's job.
Right, so let's move on to another team that's been dragged to the relegation fight in Brentford FC. They lost 2-0 to Newcastle United at the Brentford Community Stadium after going down to 10 men quite early on. I think it was like 11 minutes into the game. So Joe Linton scored. And Joe Willock also scored for me. It shows Brentford in a bad run of form. As one team rises out of the relegation fight in Newcastle United, who probably look like they're going to stay up quite comfortably now. Brentford are very, very, very very terribly are going to be dragged into the relegation fight. George, I will start off with you. You agreed with me that Brentford were going to finish in the bottom three, just not rock bottom like me. Do you think they're going to go down?
Yeah, I mean, it's still difficult to call because we do know that there's quite a few games left this season, so anyone really can sort of turn it round. Although with Newcastle, I think obviously when they were sort of flirting with that relegation zone, there was always that anticipation that they would spend big in January and they would be able to buy their way out of it. I think for Brentford, they're in a world of trouble. I think other teams, have really sort of figured them out. And there's, in an absolute, their downturn in form has been catastrophic, and I can't really see them, as I sort of said last week, I can't really see them picking up any points. I think they're going to really, really struggle. Burnley, by contrast, who I think everyone thought were a certainty to go down, and that was probably going to save Brentford as well as a few of the other teams that we've mentioned, like Everton, Leeds, Newcastle, those sort of teams. But Burnley are just Burnley, and have as soon as it sort of hits around this time, they just grind out these draws and they grind out these wins that are going to see them come out of that relegation zone quite nicely. So yeah, I think Brentford still are my favourites to go down at this juncture. But it is all to play for. I think that their only sort of issue now as well is that they've played more games as well than their other rivals, and even though it's only 1 or 2 games, they're sort of rooted on that many points. And like I said, I know they've got. I think it'll be more easy for us to tell for definitively. I think it's in the next 2 or 3 games they've got other relegation candidates. So after that round of games, they've got to make sure they pick up at least 1 win or 2. Otherwise, they're going to be going down.
Nathan, obviously in this game too, on the positive side for Brentford, and probably for the whole side of the for world football, is Christian Eriksen did come on and play pretty much through the whole of the second half, and actually looked like he got some fantastic passes. Looked like the old Christian Eriksen that we all know. These are the moments in football that we absolutely love, and the reception and clearly the emotional feeling Christian Eriksen had was beautiful to see.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic to see Christian Eriksen back on. I can't remember who he got subbed off for, actually saying that as well. But yeah, great to see Christian Eriksen back. And he'll really add some quality to that squad, which is much needed. But the thing that concerns me is looking at the quality on Brentford's bench. I mean, Ivan Toney, Sergio Canos, Frank Onyeka, Jorgensen as well on the bench. And looking at their starting lineup, for me, it screams upper half championship. I mean, David Raya, Pontus Janssen is a big one, and Buemo. Well, maybe you could argue with Buemo as well. De Silva in there as well, like Jensen, Wieser, very, very championship squad for me. And with their injury issues as well, you can see that the depth there is just not working for them. And yeah, everyone is absolutely right about Brentford potentially going down now. And looking at that squad, it's really difficult to see how they can compete. Even with Thomas Frank at the helm, who is, well, I don't really rate Thomas Frank, but I struggle to see what manager would do well with that squad for me.
No one.
I think Thomas Frank though is a big complainer. He seems to have always a little complaint about something during a football game. Apparently the comment of the chat, Reece, is something to do with your head. Show your face, Reece. Don't be shy. Bad day, Reece. Well, maybe have a Leeds cap on.
I'd rather hang myself than wear anything Leeds related.
Reece, what do you saying you don't like? Do you not rate Thomas Frank as a manager, or do you just not like him?
I used to like Thomas Frank, and then he made a joke about somebody who was at a funeral. So as far as I'm concerned, fuck him. I hope he loses his job. I hope he gets a relegation. I feel bad for Brentford, but he manages them, so I hope they suffer. I like Brentford as a club. I didn't want them relegated, but they've got a cunt as a manager. So as far as I'm concerned, get rid of him. They will not survive. They will not stay up if they keep him as manager. He's not good enough. He's one-dimensional.
No,
absolutely.
He does seem absolutely rammed to use this 3-5-2 formation. He doesn't seem like he wants to stay away from it.
I mean, to be fair, Josh, last time he actually did play 4-3-3, and that was a complete disaster against Newcastle.
He doesn't even know how to coach a 4-4-2.
He doesn't know how to coach anything outside of his depth.
Reece, I honestly, you remind me of the old-fashioned managers. You just love your 4-4-2. It seems to be your answer to everything.
No, I don't love a 4-4-2. I'm just saying he couldn't even coach a 4-4-2. I don't think he's good enough. I used to like him. I used to think he was a good manager. He done well in the Championship. He made one comment, and I've had a different opinion ever since.
Let's move on. I'm gonna keep an eye on a particular face. Let's move on to Old Trafford, shall we? The nilly draw between Manchester United and Watford FC. Watford, Roy Hodgson loves Old Trafford. The man just doesn't lose. If it's a win, if it's a really dodgy draw, he seems to always get the result at Old Trafford. There's really one man to start with, George. The floor is yours. Manchester United should have got 3 points, but you just can't hit back at the net.
Yeah, it's quite unbelievable, really, because unfortunately this season we've seen that far too often. I think under Rangnick in particular, we've definitely played much better football, much more possession, and I think these sort of stats bear it out by the fact that we haven't lost in quite a few games now. Obviously become much more compact, and had much greater control of games. But I think in some ways, and this is relatively controversial, I think in some ways, when we had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as manager, because we didn't have control of the ball that often, it meant that other opposition teams would come out slightly, and that they would have, there would be more space in behind, and there'd be more, space in general. And I think what we're suffering from now is the fact that we are, in general, keeping the ball better, but obviously that's allowing teams to be sort of more rigid and more compact against us. So we are struggling to score, as well as the fact, of course, that our players aren't, converting the chances as well. But like I said, there isn't the amount of space that we used to have under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Against Watford, in specifics, some terrible finishing. I think the crowning glory, the worst opportunity, was the one that Bruno had where he could have squared it to Ronaldo. That was it was just unfortunate, I think, in that specific moment that he didn't choose to pass it, because I think that was a very good opportunity. Obviously, Ronaldo offside for another one that was no goal. And then, just general poor finishing. I know obviously Lang had one, Ronaldo had another couple, Bruno had a couple as well. And I think Bruno and Ronaldo in particular, both of them have missed a lot of chances under Rangnick in many games, which have cost us quite dearly in terms of points, and obviously also in terms of our FA Cup elimination as well against Middlesbrough. So yeah, very frustrating, but I'm sure Rangnick's going to work with the players and hopefully get them up to scratch. The only issue now, of course, is we are eventually going to get onto Arsenal, but I think top four chances are rapidly diminishing. The more and more of it with these silly draws that we're picking up, and it's very slim chances of us getting top four now. Unfortunately, what with all of Arsenal's games in hand.
Reece, I don't know if Reece is. Nope, okay, Reece is disappeared. Oh, Reece is there. Reece, Rolf Randrick is clearly working his magic at Manchester United. The possessions there, the football's there, the chances creation are there, even the defensive structures there. But none of the attacking players can put the ball in the back of the net. There's not much a coach can do about that, there, is there?
Nope, not even the resurrection of Jesus Christ for the second time could fix these finishers. I'm not even joking. Like, I don't think they even care anymore. Like, they're just no interest, no heart, no commitment. Frankly, this lot, they just don't give a shit. The only one that actually does care is Alanga, and he's the one that got mugged off by Fernandes for being offside. Ronaldo should have scored. No excuses from him. 24th time this season he's been offside as well. Like, that's ridiculous. I've got no comments for that. Like, a player of his quality shouldn't be caught offside 24 times in a league season. Fernandes, don't know why he didn't aim for the corner on the other side of Foster. Should have scored at the bottom right hand corner. He also should have scored to Ronaldo. George is right on that one. And yep, loading out Martial right now is ridiculous considering Cavani never wants to fucking play. I like Cavani, but as far as I'm concerned, he's an arsehole. I don't. He generally doesn't want to be here. I like Cavani as a player and all that, but the one thing I said at the start of the season is his professionalism has never been questioned at any club. Even when he's injured, he was always fully committed. He was professional. Recently, however, his professionalism has been absolutely disgusting, and you cannot ignore that anymore. It has to be questioned. Like, what does he want to do? Does he want to go to the boxing? Does he want to go to the darts? Or does he want to play football? If you don't want to play football, then fuck off. Like, that's fine. Like, as simple as that.
That's the most Reece line I think I'll ever hear on this podcast. George, I want to come to you. Now, a very, very, probably as reliable as you get, a Manchester United reporter, Samuel Hurst, came on Twitter today and basically said that there's a very, very big tension growing between Ralph Randrick and Cristiano Ronaldo. Randrick is not happy with Ronaldo's general play of what he does on the pitch in terms of not holding up the ball, pressing, whatever else, basically anything other than shooting a goal. Do you think there's any truth in that, or do you think this is just classic media trying to stir the pot
up? The thing about Samuel Luckhurst, whilst this some of the stuff that he does come out with, I don't necessarily agree with. The thing about him is that he's relatively reliable, and there is, I think there's probably is going to be some sort of sustenance in that rumor. The thing, obviously, about Manchester United is we know, and obviously Bruno alluded to it in the press conference prior to the Atletico Madrid match, is that with Manchester United, reporters and journalists, they know that they always try and exacerbate things and exaggerate things for stories because they know that with Manchester United that you get the most coverage, and that's always going to be the case, unfortunately. So there may be some truth in it, but there's also a potential that he's exaggerating it for effect. At the same time, I think whatever happens, that needs to be quashed because ultimately, sadly, of course, we're not in a title race because that's what we were hoping for this season. We're now struggling to try and get top four. There is still a Champions League with an infinitesimal chance of winning. So they both need to put aside the differences. It's just extremely unfortunate. And obviously the other thing is when results are not going your way, that's when these sort of stories tend to come out. They never come out when you're winning. And unfortunately for us, the results are quite poor. Obviously, I know sort of Doug mentioned as well in the chat about loaning out Martial. I think that is obviously, again, what with the off-field issues around one of our strikers. And obviously, again, reiterating because I totally agreed about Edison Cavani because it's exactly the same thing because obviously I follow him on Instagram as well. And every single time I see Edison,
it's always something new.
Yeah, there's Edison Cavani pissing about when there's a match on. I get incredibly angry myself, and that's obviously the issue. Is that even if Rangnick is dissatisfied with Ronaldo's overall play, there's not much you can do about it because we've got so few options now because of all the various things I've just alluded to. So, I I think write off Ronaldo at your peril. I think he always, there will be some moments in this season where he comes back into form.
Yeah.
It's just incredibly annoying for me. I think Ronaldo just maybe needs a couple of goals here and there, and he'll start getting his shooting boots back in. Obviously, Fernandes as well, because both of them have been guilty of missing a lot of chances over the recent months.
Absolutely.
And yes, as I said, it's just really getting them all clicking. And I've got full confidence in Rangnick because obviously, as we've already mentioned before, I think he is getting us playing better football, and hopefully we can look to progress in the Champions League.
Well,
and the stats speak for themselves as well. The stats speak for themselves. He's only lost to Wolves, and he's only lost to Middlesbrough. Like, that's it since he's been here. He's only lost 2 games, and only City have accumulated more points than him in the Champions League and in the Premier League. And obviously, everybody wrote him off that he wouldn't outcoach Simeone. Like, he wouldn't be able to deal with it, and he actually got his tactics spot on. The only thing that's unfortunate for him, and this is not a disrespect to anybody, but right now he is relying solely on a 19-year-old from Sweden who's been brilliant. Like, Alanga's been brilliant since he's got into the first team, but you cannot constantly rely on a 19-year-old to deliver, because eventually, like every young player, he is going to go out of form. He is going to be a little bit burnt out. You need to give him chances to at least recover. Like, even Sancho himself, like, Sancho's been absolutely brilliant recently, but he'll have his moments, so we cannot solely rely. So I do think, especially because obviously Marcus Rashford's a bit of an absolute hit and miss, actually, more of a miss than a hit right now. Loaning out Martial right now would have been a problem, because you could have used him up front, or we could have used him on the left wing. At least it takes the burden off the likes of Sancho and Alanga, which should not be heavily enforced on them. Even Jesse Lingard, he's there as a backup right winger, supposedly. If you don't want to just constantly rely on those two, give him a chance as well. At least he can offer something, rather than just hoping that our 37-year-old like wizard of a striker is going to score 6 goals a game, which isn't going to happen.
Right, so we're going to have to do a bit of rewinding. Carl, Leeds fan, has joined us. Hello, Carl. Thank you very much for joining the wonderful podcast. So, Carl, we've already kind of spoke about Leeds, but
hold on, I'll just get my headphones on properly. Sorry, gentlemen. As I've been busy trying to get stuff. Hold on.
We've already spoken about Leeds, but obviously you're a Leeds fan. You're able to give us the proper insight to how the Leeds community's feeling about Marcelo Bielsa, and currently now Jesse March coming in. So the floor is all yours. What do you think about Bielsa, and then about March?
So apologies, Josh, I missed a bit of that because I was trying to set my headphones, but I will say what he said. I got what he said just now. So it's been a raw emotions this past week or so. It has been raw emotions, and I thought I was not thinking about the game on Saturday. I was away with my partner in the box, Scottish Borders, trying to pretend nothing's happened. And when I got a signal, I saw the updates coming in. It was just like, this is the end of the era. It felt like that. It was raw emotions, and I think in a way, this is a sad ending in a way to where it has to end for someone like Bielsa, and who's been not just tremendous for the club and the players, but for the whole city. If you think of Leeds and City, Leeds is mostly historically it's been a rugby town because of the success of Leeds Rhinos, how they've done in the Super League and all those years in the Challenge Cup and so forth. And there's always been glimpses where football has been big in Leeds under the Don Revie years and the Bielsa year, and also Bielsa and such as O'Leary and so forth. I think this is now a bit of when fans are now starting to be a bit divided again because of what's just gone on after what's happened to the last 48 hours or so. And I like I said, the club is I won't say free fall, but the club's in disarray because this was not what they wanted to do. This was supposed to be planned in the summer. Jesse March was going to come in the summer. That was the original plan. And we've been scouting for 2 years for what the club has been saying behind the sources, behind the scenes, to be scouted for 2 years. And, it's different. It's different. I don't know. And then the thing is with Bielsa, the fans were all on side. They're all on one side, and that's how it was. But since then, I've noticed the last couple of hours, it's been divided by most fans. We're losing that. We're getting divided again. This is not what we need from ourselves to go through. I think there's a lot to be blamed by the board I think the board has got itself to blame. They shot themselves in the foot by not investing this in the last 2 transfer windows. We had a chance to invest in January. Van der Beek was one of them. He was one of them to, the names list, Winks. But Bielsa somehow refused. And then Angus Kinnear coming out and saying, oh, the young players will get us through because we don't want to harness the development. But it's not about development. We need players who can try this fight, who's fit in this team straight away. These players that might be playing the system in the young squad, youth teams. But in a way, it doesn't help them develop when they're fighting for a relegation battle. And that's what we are. We are fighting in a relegation battle. And I will say this to my dad the last few weeks back and forth that, no, we should be fine. We need 4 wins. But where are we going to get those 4 wins? So it's kind of hard at the moment what we want to do.
What's your opinion about Jesse March coming in to replace Bielsa?
It's interesting because yes, we've been scouted for 2 years, and I know he didn't have a very good record at Leipzig. He didn't win a lot of games. He admitted himself it was his fault. It was not the right fit, and that's fair play. But you're coming to a huge club that's had one of the best managers over the last three and a bit years, who's rallied the fans and the whole city all together. The thing is, he has to do now, because what I will say, because Jesse March was going to be replaced for the summer, not now. But because with our situation, with the ownership situation with the 49ers, because they're going to be some point owning the club in the next year or 2, it may be a lot more sooner, because it looks like Redazzani was resigning. I watched his video coming out and talking about Bielsa just not long ago, and I have to say he looked clueless. He said that something was not wrong. Well, if something was wrong, you could have invested in the squad. I don't care about the facilities that we need to upgrade the facilities and the stadium. That's long term. We needed players at the time. We needed players at that in those windows, and especially in the summer, because we have been light on the midfield. We've been light up front. I think our defense, has been struggling with not having Cooper, being injured, and it's so sad to see. It's been horrendous. It's been very horrendous, and I was saying this to Doug this past weekend about that. I said it's been horrendous, and there was links with Valverde. Valverde is going to have the same issues as Bielsa. I don't think he speaks good English, and he's not been management for 2 years. So how can you say Valverde is going to help us in the relegation battle when he was playing really boring football at Barcelona, which was the same team that collapsed against Liverpool in the Champions League 3 years ago?
That's a very, very good point. Thank you for that information. Obviously, now Doug has joined us. Hello, Doug.
Hello, Josh. It's fantastic to see you back on the podcast, my friend. It is fantastic to see, and it's great to see that we're obviously giving solidarity to Ukraine as well. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I'm not wearing a jumper; it's a t-shirt. It's a t-shirt. But no, it's an absolute pleasure, and it's great to see Carl on here as well. We need to get him on for a long time, so it's great to see.
You need to get me on here a lot more often. Actually, you need to get me on a lot more often. I am a free man most of the time, so
yeah, I know that. But
you never know if that's a good or a bad thing, Carl. Doug, I will ask you very quickly. Obviously, let's hear your opinions on Marcelo Bielsa and Jesse March.
Jesse Marsh, I'm amazed Leeds have gone for him. He was absolutely terrible at Leipzig. Absolutely dreadful at Leipzig. He took a side that was challenging Bayern Munich for the Bundesliga down to 11th place because he couldn't defend. Like the thing for me is, why would you go for a manager like that? And Simon Grayson.
Let's see that, Andrew. Yeah,
but I have to say, I'm amazed that it's happened now. I thought it would have happened in the summer. Bielsa was obviously going to leave in the summer. I think me and Carl have been discussing this weeks on weeks, and we've both been saying the same thing. Bielsa is definitely not going to be at Leeds next season. So the fact that he's now been Well, I still think he's walked away. He doesn't get sacked. I think he's walked away. I think he's mutually agreed to.
I
yeah,
said this would happen. I said this would happen at the very end of last season. I said Bielsa wouldn't last this season. I said he wouldn't even finish it. Funny, when I was seeing that, I didn't see anything else. He's generally not going to take you further on. Marsh is going to ruin you guys.
I think the fact is for me is he's signed till 2025 as well. So this is a long-term plan for him. And if Leeds do go down, which I don't think they will, because I think there's worse clubs down there for sure. Obviously, Norwich City is one of them. Watford for sure as well. And we'll obviously speak about Everton very shortly, but there are worser teams off, and I think Leeds United are a very, very good side. The only thing is, I think what was wrong, and the fact that he's gone now, was the fact that they conceded 20 goals in the last 5 matches.
Yeah.
I agree. And the thing is, I'll tell you something. You know me, lads. I grew up in Yorkshire, and when you grew up in Yorkshire, you could be a stubborn bastard. I think Bielsa, and Bielsa, exactly. Bielsa had that. Bielsa was so stubborn. He did not know when to change it. He always had plan A. And, plan A, I see that. I saw what Andrew's doing. I know.
To be fair, like Kim Marsh would be the director of football. Kim Marsh would just be walking past saying, I'm just going to Old Trafford for a quick sing-song.
That is funny, Andrew. You're making me a little bit laugh, because I think I needed it the last couple of days, I find.
We are going to go rigid, though. Like, I'll let
I think we will go rigid.
Yeah.
Well, Marsh is similar to Bielsa, but he's more pragmatic. I think he will try to tweak that defense and will change game plans if things go there. And that's what we've not had for the last few years when we've been back in the Premier League, because we knew the second season was going tough, and we knew, like you and I, Reece, we spoke about this back in the Euros about that when we were talking about, and then we said, "Oh, you're right," and I said, "Yeah." And in my back of my head, I agreed with you. I didn't want to say it publicly, but back of my head, I thought I do agree.
A Leeds fan doesn't want to agree with my United fan. See, I won back in the Euros. I already won.
I know you did. I know, and I agree with you now. And it just came to me the last couple of days after the Man United game, and I thought it could get worse and worse. Could it not get any worse? But listen, the Leeds fans need to back Marsh. I know we're not going to like the decision. I understand that, but we have to back it and back our team to stay up, because I think one of the reasons why we're trying to get Brendan Harrison, who Jesse Marsh did sign from Salzburg from Philadelphia. I think that was a reason why we were trying to target him, because of the links with Jesse Marsh last year before he went to Leipzig, and I think it would have been Marsh would have had his player if he came in the summer. That was always going to happen. But now I think there's going to be issues with the ball itself, with Kinnear, Victor Ortega, and Razani. I think them three are under pressure now. And I will not be surprised, like I said, the 49ers will buy the club 100% right. I think they've been frustrated of how Leeds are in this situation when one of the ball members who's from the 49ers should have said something that needs to be done, and no one did come out. And I think we were hidden under like a wall of pretending nothing was happening, but realistically, something was not right. So I think at the moment now, I just think that we need to get behind Jesse Marsh, see what his tactics is going to be on Saturday against Leicester, and we'll have to go from there. We've got 12 games to go.
He will play in a 4-4-2. I'll tell you, not 4-4-2, a 4-2-3-1. I'll tell you now, he'll play in a 4-2-3-1. The problem is he doesn't play a lot of players in their proper positions. He likes to be very, his mind, I think you like to say unpredictable. Although, to be fair, when you've got a very good number 10, a very good striker, and 2 wingers that fit his system when he was at Leipzig, he decided to put the number 10 as the striker, and the striker is the left winger. The left winger is the right winger, and the right winger is the attacking midfielder. He tries to think he's unpredictable, but he's actually just costing balance in the squad. The only thing for you now is, everybody knows my opinion of Daniel James. I think he's absolutely a waste of space. But at least you're not going to see him up front anymore. You're going to see him back. You're going to see him back on the left wing. You're going to see it between him and Harrison competing for the left-hand side, as it should be. The only thing is, do you have another striker go up top? Because Rodrigo,
Joe Geldart is one of our options that people be
may see him back up top. You might see him back up top then, and then you'll have Rodrigo in the number 10. So at least you'll have players in their proper positions. It's going to be rigid 4-2-3-1, hoping to get on the break, hoping you can control possession of the ball. But realistically, it's mostly going to be you guys just fighting for scraps at the minute.
I think it will. I will accept that.
Yeah.
We will move on because we've got loads to get through. So we're going to move on what was probably the biggest talking point of the Premier League week, and that is Manchester City taking on Everton at Goodison Park, where Michael Keane decided he forgot how to kick a ball, costing Everton. But also we have to talk about the handball, which Frank Lampard definitely did not hide his criticism and blatantly called the referees incompetent after shootout while looking at the screen for 2 minutes and unable to tell the main official to even go and look at the screen to decide on the handball. I'm going to go in order from my right downwards. So, Doug, I'll start with you. One, Everton should have got a point. Michael Keane defending capability has probably summed up Everton's defence this season in a nutshell. But on the other hand, they should have got a penalty to probably get a draw. But how sure that well looks at that screen and says that is not a blatant handball really makes you question the capability of referees in the English Football League.
Well, first off, it was Paul Tierney. It was Paul Tierney that was the referee.
So I think Shootout was on the VAR, though, I think.
Yeah, no, it was Chris Kavanagh. It was Chris Kavanagh, and he has been ousted now as apparently his whole family are Manchester City season ticket holders. But the one thing is for me, that is as blatant a handball as you will ever likely see. I have never, ever, ever seen as more blatant a handball. What is a handball anymore? What is a handball anymore? And the thing is, it's just absolutely ridiculous now. We need clarification to what is a handball and what isn't. Because quite clearly, I don't care what people are saying, yeah, it's offside, oh, yeah, it's offside, like Richarlison was offside, etc. But what is a handball anymore? I don't know. You don't know. Nathan doesn't know. Carl doesn't know. Reece doesn't know. George doesn't know. What is a handball anymore? We do not know what a handball is anymore. No. And the thing is, for me, is that City, I don't care. Don't care what if people come at me. Like every team has benefited from a really, really bad decision. Liverpool have done. Manchester United have as well. But for me, I think City have benefited from a lot of decisions. The João Moutinho handball was not a handball. Like, that came off his midriff. How that is a handball is beyond me. Just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And if the Premier League have any integrity left, is they will strip Chris Kavanagh of any match official this weekend.
Yeah, no surprise.
I'm just going to say this very quickly of an off note. In the Irish League, a referee called Jamie Robinson got charged by the IFA for assaulting a manager of Crusaders, and he still refereed the same weekend.
It's
so
nuts.
I wouldn't say that Chris Kavanagh is under any threat not to be refereeing this weekend. Nathan, over to you. What was your opinion on the very questionable VAR decision, or even referee decision, whatever we want to put it?
When I first saw it happen, I got to be honest, guys, I just wasn't surprised because it's just, I mean, I have never seen so many bad refereeing decisions in the matter of a few months. I mean, yes, I'm a Cardiff fan and everything. I mean, I see woeful decisions every week. I've been seeing it for the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, our match on the weekend, that was borderline match fixing against Fulham, but that's another story. But honestly, 100% handball. Like, how can the referee not see it? You can... Worst officials in Europe by far. I can't believe I have to keep saying this all the time, every single week on this podcast. 2 things need to happen. Overhaul of VAR, post-match referee interviews, and most importantly, mic the referees up. And not only that as well, we don't want any of this Carlo Ancelotti nonsense where if he asks him for his opinion, he just gets sent off straight away. That is stupid from a few years back as well. And not only that, if a manager comments on a referee decision, instead of do something, why fine them? We've seen it with Neil Warnock. We've seen it with so many different managers. they speak facts about what has just happened. They speak about what everyone is saying, and yet they get fined for speaking their opinion when the FA, and I know I'm going to be controversial here, and Andrew, I think you're talking complete and utter rubbish there.
Bring Jose Mourinho back to referee
honest,
games. At least
exactly.
Just to Nathan's point, Frank Lampard is currently going to be facing a potential sixth match sideline ban or something after calling the referee incompetent.
Rubbish. He shouldn't even get that.
Exactly.
He shouldn't even get that.
Put it this way, and this is this: if you're being incompetent, if you're getting called out for being incompetent at your job, then it's actually a learning curve. If you get fined for it, or if you get any of this bollocks, then it just shows that you're just protecting them. If we were incompetent at our job, we would get hauled into the office by our managers, we'd be sat down and we'd be discussed it. We'd either go to a performance plan or we'd be sacked.
Exactly.
If referees are getting escape from it, then if you can't handle it, then fuck off, you bunch of snowflakes.
No, it's true. Yeah. Absolutely true. Yeah,
I've just checked with Chris Kavanagh. He is apparently the fourth official at Newcastle against Brighton this weekend. He has not got any refereeing post
he'll still have some input. He'll still have some input because he's Chris Kavanagh. He thinks he's bigger than the whole sport.
The crazy thing is, he'll probably do what we've seen a lot in the Championship this season. He'll probably, for when we see loads of diving in the match, he'll give about 2 minutes at a time, and then they'll only play 1 minute of it, and they'll blow up. Or he'll just do some stupid stuff like that. Probably accuse the manager of something, get them sent off. I mean, there's so many ways that it has to be overhauled. The FA have got to do something. They need to wake up and smell the coffee here. It's
Bring in German referees. Bring in German referees, and they'll show them how it's done.
100%.
Yeah, Felix Breich. I don't know if he's still refereeing. Was it Wolfgang Stark? He was a good referee as well.
He was a good referee as well, who had a really good experience. And the thing is, as well, I can't see any English officials going to the World Cup. That is not happening again. It's not happening.
A chance, Carl. Not a chance.
It won't.
They're all
shit. Happen.
They're all shit. English referees haven't been good since 2010.
No, exactly.
Graham Poll was actually, I'll give him a little bit of credit here. Graham Poll was actually a very good referee. Other than that, the only other good ref before that was Free Cards Poll. But who's the other one that went to the 2010 World Cup? Who was the bad guy?
Webb.
Him. He was all right. So Free Cards Poll, Howard Webb, they were the only two good English officials. The rest of them are all shit. None of them are that good.
The final opinion on the handball is over to you, George.
No, it wasn't. Clattenburg was crap.
Yeah,
Clattenburg was awful.
The king of trying to make it by himself, wasn't he? I thought he was the one that pretty sure he was the one that was tattooing, refereeing performances that he'd had on his own body. That was his sort of ultimate showmanship. Just want to echo really what the guys have said. Obviously, Doug in particular, specifically, I think it's extremely difficult now to know what a handball actually is. All these sort of decisions, you think that that it's a handball, you think it's not a handball, but there's no real clarity. There's a lot of ambiguity and grey area about what handball is now, and it's almost as though the officials do seem to shape it to whatever decision they want to come to. So no clarity whatsoever. And obviously, the second thing is, again, sort of echoing what Doug was saying about specific examples of Man City getting the rub of the green, so to speak, in terms of officiating decisions. And one game that really sticks out to me was obviously when Man City were playing Arsenal at the Emirates, when obviously Arsenal had a penalty which wasn't allowed, obviously at crucial time, and also somehow Rodri escaped. It was allowed to escape without getting a yellow card until he took his shirt off, obviously at the very end, for his celebration for his winner when he made about 8 cynical, horrendous fouls, which obviously City are well known to be proficient at. So yeah, City have had a lot of officiating decisions go their way, but yeah, it's not surprising. And obviously, I think Everton as well have sort of complained to the FA as well about the state of the refereeing. So it remains to be seen how that investigation goes. But yeah, terrible refereeing once again in another crucial match for not only the title race, obviously with Man City, but also a relegation battle for Everton.
Well, let's swiftly move on. Let's move on to a game that I think had me and Doug in potential heart attacks. And of course, the League Cup final. Liverpool have win on pens 11. Then after Kepa, a release of Balaga skies his penalty after Thomas Tuchel put his trust in him and substituted him on just before the penalty shootout. Doug, obviously, after having some time on to reflect the game. It was probably one. It should not have been the least at the end of the extra time. 2, it was probably the best nilly draw we'll ever see in a long time. And 3, is the quadruple on?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to get carried away and say that it is or not. But the thing for me is, I think to win the League Cup after what seems like, I think it was 11 years since we last won it. It was obviously, sorry Nathan, against Cardiff City.
10 years.
The game you shouldn't have won.
11 years it was, I think. But look, I thought the whole game yesterday was fantastic. Two sides going at it. It was end to end. It was completely a very, very good fight. I mean, Chelsea had the best 2 opportunities in the first half. Pulisic has the goal to aim at. And Pulisic, very good save from Keller, who I thought was outstanding. I thought the 2 keepers were outstanding. Mendy, especially, I thought he was man of the match before he had to go be substituted, obviously. But I thought Kelleher, first final appearance, I thought he was absolutely amazing yesterday. I think he kept us in the game. He handles things very, very well. And the fact that he scored the winning penalty just says it all for me as well, because I think he was excellent. And if I have to say, if you had 2 teams that didn't deserve to lose yesterday, it would be Liverpool and Chelsea, because I thought both of them were fantastic yesterday. Kovacic and Conte in midfield are just an absolute menace. Like, they're so good. They age like a fine wine. And it's the same with, obviously, James Milner. I thought Luis Diaz was outstanding yesterday. Gave Chalobah Chalobah a really, really hard game as well. I thought Van Dijk was fantastic as well. I think the only player that really sort of let himself down was Trent as well. I thought the funniest moment as well was when Harvey Elliott pushes Kai Havertz, who is about, I would probably say, Harvey Elliott must be about 5'5". Kai Havertz must be about 6'4". To actually try and do that was amazing. But obviously,
Chelsea fans were not happy on Twitter about that.
But what I will say though is that I think the decisions that were very marginal. I think the Matip one. Yes, I think that is the correct decision, because I think Van Dijk does actually foul Reece James. Like, I thought it was actually given as an offside, but actually, when you look at it, he does foul. I thought the which one was it?
Offside.
Lukaku offside, that was so marginal. It was so marginal. Werner was correctly offside as well. He strayed ever so slightly. And then Kai Havertz, his one, I don't know why he's gone that early as well. Just stay on side. Stay on side with the way that he did his as well. And obviously we come to the penalties. The coolest penalty for me was Fabinho's, going down the middle where, Kepa completely fools himself. But I have to say the best penalty for me was Virgil van Dijk. Kepa's standing at the right-hand side of the goal, and Van Dijk is like, fuck it, I'll just go and get it, top corner. And just has a wee stare. Oh, shout out to Reece James, Romelu Lukaku and Jorginho for the what happened? Yeah, we won, unfortunately.
I'll say this in contrast to your game. I watched the highlights back. One of the worst players on the pitch was Mo Salah.
I think that was because Rudiger marshalled him out of the game. I think Rudiger was outstanding yesterday.
He just didn't know what he was doing. Like, Rudiger's an absolute colossus anyway, but like Salah offered nothing in that game. Like, the only thing he actually did right that whole game was probably the penalty.
Nathan, did you catch any of the game?
No, I was actually out at the time, but the only bit I was able to watch was extra time and penalties, and that Kepa penalty. I mean, £70 million. Let's break it down here. 70 million goes right for every single penalty. Gets brought on when we know what's happened in the past before, even in the same cup final under Sarri. Goes to take the last penalty instead of playing it safe along the floor into the bottom corner. Nope. Straight over the bar. I mean, he does not help himself, does he? But fair play to Liverpool. In the end, did deserve it once again, winning the Carabao Cup. And yeah, they are now on for pretty much all the trophies this season as well. So
I've got to ask Josh something. That's 4 domestic finals you've now lost in a row. Is that a bit of a concern?
No, because the last 4 European finals we've played for fun, so it does depend on which way you look. I don't
and also, fun fact, I don't know if anyone knows this, Liverpool have won the League Cup every time the competition's been sponsored by a drink.
Oh, well.
That is interesting.
Wow,
yeah,
that's
I didn't even know that.
good.
Nine times you'd have drunk it up then.
I don't really think it's an issue. I think if we came away from that game and played really badly, like we did in the FA Cup final, there's a slight concern, but you can't fault the performance. If Mason Mount just learned how to shoot the ball to the back of the net, we could have won that game. It's just fine margins in football. There was a tweet that I specifically remember. A Chelsea fan tweeted when Kepa was coming on saying, "I see you, Kepa. Go and do it." And then he tweeted after, he said, Kepa took this literally and tried to send the ball to me in Dubai. And I
seen a tweet yesterday. I seen a tweet yesterday that I thought, should I laugh at it or not? But it was actually Kepa's penalty is just being shot down over Ukraine by Russian intelligence.
I
was like, Jesus Christ.
To be fair, I saw another one as well where because Kepa's ball skied over the bar. Liverpool fan manages to get the ball and sneak it home. What a bit of merchandise from the game that is. That is quality.
I was on a stream. I was streaming last night. And I said for a joke when I heard Kepa miss, right, and somebody said it skied it, so I went, it was that bad. So I went, we now go to Roberto Baggio for a commentary on this penalty. I still can't see it.
Carl, what was your thoughts on the League Cup final?
Really good game, actually. Really good game. Really, both sides will really go for it. And I think after Chelsea, what they'll be going through the last couple of hours with the odd statements that has been coming. I think you lot did try to take it to Liverpool, and so did Liverpool try to take it to you guys. And yeah, I just feel like there was the offsides with chances was marginal, and it was probably the right decision. But like I said, the penalties were interesting because as soon as you brought Kepa on, I thought, is this going to be the same thing happen? What happened when he was with under Sarri? I know he didn't come up, but he was on the pitch, he refused to go off. But yeah, it's surprising how he just skied it over when Kelly was going the wrong way. It was a bit surprising. So all you needed to do is just don't have to shot up and high. But look, Liverpool would deserve to win it in the end. Of how cool they were in the penalty shootout. I think Kelly was performing tremendously well. No wonder Klopp has backed him as well. It looks like he's going to be a good number one as well. When Alisson does retire as well, will be a good, decent number one for Liverpool. I think for Chelsea, they need to think about now what to do in the Champions League now, and that is going to be really vital because if they don't win, if they don't keep it, it's a question for Tuchel coming in the season if it's been kept on or not.
I just before we go to George, I do actually have a bit of a fun fact that Doug kind of brought up. This is with Chelsea. So if and this was confirmed by Tuchel quite a few weeks ago, it just wasn't really reported. If Chelsea went to a penalty shootout in the Champions League final against Manchester City, Thomas Tuchel was going to sub on Willy Caballero. He did not play a single game that season. He was going to sub on Willy Caballero. So Thomas Tuchel does have this whole concept about about penalty goalkeepers. Willy Caballero would have came on in the final, and he didn't play a single game that season. So this is why I'm not too harsh on the decision, because it's something Thomas Tuchel's had even back when Willy Caballero was still at the club. So George, over to you. For your opinion on the League Cup final.
Yeah, obviously watched the entirety of the match. Was was quite. Yeah, it was as you say, quite a thrilling game. Lots of missed chances. I mean, you don't really necessarily anticipate that from Liverpool, but I think obviously with Chelsea we have seen that as quite a common theme, and so it proved again because I think on the balance I think Chelsea did have the better chances. Mason Mount, when he got put through and he had that one-on-one and sort of got it caught underneath his feet, that was an unbelievable. It was just begged belief really how he even managed to hit the post, and obviously the ball went out. At the same time, I thought, in periods of the game, Liverpool did dominate. I thought, towards the end of regulation time, I thought Liverpool really pressing for a winner. They could almost sort of sense it. And I thought, in extra time, it sort of ebbed and flowed both ways. Obviously, for Chelsea, from Chelsea's point of view, multiple offsides, very tight ones. Obviously, I think Doug's already sort of covered them, quite marginal ones, especially, I think, the most inexcusable one for me was the Lukaku one because he's looking right across the line. There's no excuse for him to get offside. I know he was trying. Obviously it's very tempting because Van Dijk's such a supreme defender. It's very tempting to always make sure you have at least an extra yard because you know he's coming for you. So it's extremely tempting to try and do that. But Lukaku, all he had to do was hold his run just a slight bit, tad more, and that would have been a real phenomenal way for him to sort of kickstart a Chelsea career, which ultimately has really sort of spluttered and never quite got going at this current juncture. And then once it goes to penalties, it really is the age-old adage of it being a lottery. Obviously, Doug's already spoken about the best penalty. I also thought it was Van Dijk's because Kepa decided to stand over on one side of the goal and somehow got
I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what he was. I've seen that. Like, does he think that did he think that Virgil van Dijk was like, oh look, Kepa's standing margin to the right? Do you think he's just going to aim for the right just to try and cut him off? No, of course he's going straight down the middle. You stupid melt.
It's a belief. I think
it's a belief, man.
Of opportunities. I think Kepa obviously as well could have. I can't remember which. There was one penalty, wasn't there, just before? Was it Konate's? I think it was. From
Konate, yeah.
Yeah, Konate's one. Kepa really should have saved. That was probably one of the only. There were very few. Because obviously there's so many expert penalties. There were very few and far opportunities to actually save. So to be fair to Kepa, and obviously, it comes to that end point, and really all he's got to make sure there is the ball goes on target because there's so much opportunity from score. He just absolutely skies it. And once again, he's in the headlines for the wrong reason. 3 years on from the other fiasco. Ultimately, I think overall it's a difficult one to call really because when I think about it, I think Chelsea did have more of the golden opportunities, but at the same time I feel like Liverpool dominated a lot more in certain periods of the game than I anticipated. I think Chelsea got quite tired, especially like I said as it went towards the end of normal time. And ultimately it was whoever kept their nerve, and unfortunately for Chelsea a gamble obviously with Tuchel for Kepa backfired, and Liverpool obviously lift the trophy.
So let's. I think that's a perfect round. All I'll say is it was a game of fine margins. I think if Liverpool or Chelsea took the lead, I think they would have won the game. I think Mason Mount should. I think there's no question Mason Mount should have been scoring his one-on-one chance. It's inexcusable to miss that in such a key game. Lukaku. I think Lukaku's goal was onside, but the reason I think Lukaku's goal was onside, I think because of the angle that VAR was looking at, they were unable to make a decision based on the angle they were given. I think if the linesman kept his flag down, that goal was given for the same reasons. So I don't blame VAR for not trying to intervene in that because they had no conclusive angle to make a decision. So, all I'll say is that there's bigger fish to fry. I don't need the League Cup. I don't care. Well, I don't care about it. It's one of those trophies. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. I'll just pretend that game never happened for my own heart's sake. Because my heart, I went to bed feeling like I was about to never wake up again. So just forget about it. So let's move on. Let's do some quick fires around the different leagues. The Scottish League, the Bundesliga, La Liga, and forward. Let's start off with the Scottish League, and we'll go over to Douglas. Livingston absolutely destroying Dundee 4-0. They were 3-0 up within 25 minutes. Was it the case that Livingston were that good, or Dundee really in trouble?
Dundee were shocking, absolutely shocking. I mean, I've never ever seen a side defend as like there was actually fans leaving after like the 25th minute when we went 3-0 up. It was that bad, and to be 3-0 up at half time was fantastic, and then I mean the fourth goal is scored by Jack Fitzwater, and the thing for me is he's a centre back. He's a centre back, and he manages to curl it into the corner. But I tell you something, the weirdest appointment this season for me is Mark McGee. I have no idea what Dundee were thinking about bringing him back. He's still got a 4-game ban. Still got a 4-game ban to have as well. But no, I have to say I was very, very impressed with the way we played, and I think we've been kind of needing that as well, because performances haven't been getting results recently. But to be like top 6 at this moment in time, we've got Celtic at the weekend, and we know Celtic struggles against Livingston at the Tony Macaroni as well. Good chance to get some points against Celtic, and do you know what? I think I fancy us against Celtic. I really do.
Just an comment about Livingston before I do carry on. I didn't actually realise, because I don't follow the Scottish League as much as I have done in previous seasons. I didn't actually realise Martin Barfley was the assistant coach at Livingston. I thought he was a fantastic pundit on sports, and I really love listening to him. I think he was a fantastic pundit. So I was happy to see him in the coaching staff at Livingston, because I know he's a very, very he's a big Livingston fan at heart. Also, I'll stick with you, Doug, for this one very quickly. A bad loss for St Johnstone at Ross County, a game that they were starting to pick up a bit of running forward. It was 1-6, and then it was a terrible performance from at Dungwell, and I can't say Ross County deserved to win that game.
Yeah, you can't really say anything else. It was a great win for Malcolm Mackay and Ross County, and they're sort of slowly getting themselves away from trouble now. And St Johnstone. I think it's between St Johnstone and Dundee to go down. I think Livingston are now in a position where they can actually feel that they are now safe with 10 games to go, and. Yeah, again, I think that'll be like our 4th or 5th season in a row that we've managed to stay in the Premiership, which is fantastic. And everyone writes us off as well. You see everyone's predictions at the start of the season, and everyone says, "Oh, Livingston are going to be 12th, Livingston are going to be 11th," they've lost the spine of the team. But the thing is, Livingston always seem to get players where you don't least expect them to get. Somebody's just missing. But no, I must say I've been very, very impressed. Bruce Anderson is like the 3rd top scorer in the Premiership. It's mad. We actually might have a potential top Golden Boot winner in Scotland, which is mental. But I still think it'll be Morelos or that Regan Charles Cook for Ross County. But no, very, very good win against Dundee. Ross County, I think it's between Ross County, Dundee, or St Johnstone that are going to go down. At this moment in time, because I've got Mark McGee, I'm going to say Dundee will get relegated.
Just very quickly on the comment, I remember when I came on to Doug's StreamYard, I seen this in his overlays. I was like, "What? Why is that?"
I thought it's way fairy to because I was saying that to Steve the other day about that. I was like, "Yeah, you do look like it. There's a bit of a semblance with that one." So.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the Ibrox. Rangers were 2-0 up against Motherwell at the Ibrox, but Motherwell, who have been in a terrible run of form, came back to get a 2-2 draw at Ibrox. Race 2 massively points dropped, and Rangers continue to be very suspect defensively.
Yeah, Motherwell fluked it. Like, there's no other way to say it. Like, Motherwell fluked that draw. Like, that was ridiculous. Just how it was 2 very easy chances that they scored from. I think serious questions need to be asked of the goalkeeper now. Like, I've always liked Alan McGregor. Always a professional.
I agree.
But it's time. I'm going to say this now, and I honestly don't care. Drop him for John McLaughlin. Drop him, and then find a permanent replacement in the summer. It's time to get it done, because yes, in a big game, he will give you something. He will give you confidence in the back line, but this is week after week. It's simple mistakes that he's been beaten for. And as a top goalkeeper, like, and somebody I've always admired. Obviously, I was at the game in 2008 when he got injured.
Steve Bruce effect.
Yeah.
Yep.
Coming up against a team who can't tackle defend at all. Oh, that must be exciting.
Exactly. I was at the game in the 2007-08 season when he got injured, which then obviously cost them a chance to be in the UEFA Cup final. The Rangers shouldn't have lost to Zenit, but that's a controversial opinion. And obviously, since then, it's just a matter of like professional opinion. He's just a fantastic goalkeeper, but he's winding down. He's not given enough confidence. He's lost it from last season when he was the best goalkeeper in the league. And it's just dwindling down. Ages caught up to him. It's time to replace him. And that back line for Rangers needs to get looked at. Lundstrom is playing a centre back. I love Gio, but what the hell is he playing at? Lundstrom isn't even a footballer. He's just a man that stands there. He's basically just a Nathan. I'm just kidding, dude. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He should be there. He should be there in the first place. Isn't good enough. I think you need to give Aaron Ramsey more time in midfield. I think as much as I didn't particularly want Ramsey signed, I think at least he offers you something in midfield. He drives up and down the pitch. At least he'll get you a goal. I think he needs to get in the team. Him and Aribo. For me, to be fair, if it was up to me, it'd be a midfield three. It'd be Aribo, and Ramsey playing as 2-8s in front of Ryan Jack. And then up front, realistically, he needs to look at his position because Ryan Kent hasn't been particularly great lately. He's dwindling down. Amad Diallo hasn't really kicked on, but he scored twice. He was an unused substitute, so I wonder if he's going to be used as much. And the biggest thing is always, say all along, the biggest loss is Hadji, like losing Hadji injury. And the fact is we won't see him till next season. He's a massive loss, and it takes a lot of creativity at the team that we have to rely on. Fashion Sakala, who scored a fantastic goal. But as like I said earlier on about Man United, in terms of like relying on Alanga, Rangers are relying heavily on Fashion Sakala when Morelos doesn't score, even though Morelos did score. He isn't going to score every single chance he gets. You can't just keep relying on young players to get you out of an issue. And our spine was weak. So, yep, it's manner of speaking, really need to look at improving in that areas, and they really need to make the team more compact because it's worrying how bad we are defensively.
So Hibs nil, Celtic nil. Dog. Celtic obviously came off the back end of a very embarrassing display in the European Conference League against Bundesliga. Shout out to Hallie. I know she's a big fan of that club. They lost 5-1 on aggregate to the Norwegian side, and they came up against Hibs. The Celtic team were showing holes in them, aren't they? They're a team that is very, very, very far away from being a complete Celtic team that has been dominating the Scottish League for the last, 10 years before Rangers won the league. But they're showing good holes in them, and it will hurt you even more if you're a Rangers fan that you did not catch up with that.
I was fucking fuming.
Yeah, I think the thing is with this game is that there wasn't many clear-cut chances. I thought I watched the game. It didn't really help with Kevin Nisbet going off injured. I think he's a massive blow for Hibs, for sure.
Big fuzz.
Yeah. Oh, him, man. Yeah. I know who you're talking.
I don't know which one you're talking about. I've just noticed in the live chat. Like that's crazy. Like if that's occurred, because obviously. If you've done that, that's defamation as well.
The one player that really stood out for me, though, for Hibs, I can't remember, is it Jasper?
Is that the midfielder?
That's the wee winger. He looks like a prospect, by the way. He looks a really, really good player. Looks like he looks like a player who could actually make something happen as well. But no, it's a very good point for Hibs, especially because Livingston with that draw for Hibs, they've actually they are in the top 6 at the moment. But
that's right.
Celtic were dreadful both games.
It's the only team so far this season that's taken points off Celtic in both home and away. Hibs are the only team to do it this season.
True.
Final point about the Scottish League. I'll stick with you again with this one, Doug. It's just your opinion about Jim Goodwin at Aberdeen. How do you think he'll do? Big loss for St Mirren. Do you think he's the right fit for Aberdeen?
It's a big loss for St Mirren, but I think he'll do okay at Aberdeen. I think with obviously Stephen Robinson moving to St Mirren. Yeah, I do. I think Jim Goodwin has actually proved that he can actually do it in this league, and I think he's done well at St Mirren. Obviously lost to Carl's side, Hearts. I think it was 2-0, but I do believe there was a red card in that game that kind of changed the game.
There was. It was a really badly tackled by, I think it was Conor Rowan. Really bad tackle for lunge a big arm. It was really lunging. He didn't need to really lunge in like that, but it did change the game completely after that, because I think St Mirren had a penalty, claims were ignored when Green went down in the box, and I think we just got the second half goals with Ellis and Devlin, and we'll play Aberdeen this week and then we've got the
I was
cup,
going to ask you about
Scottish
that.
Cup. Yeah, and then we've got the Scottish Cup on Saturday. Well, next Saturday against St Mirren, so it's a huge game.
Yeah, why is that a 7:45 kickoff? Is that because
I don't know.
TV?
Yeah, some people Scotland. I don't know why it moved because I thought it was could be on earlier during the day. Because my friend is a St Mirren fan, and I was going to come in for dinner. And oh, St Mirren's playing. I'm like, oh, because he's a big St Mirren fan. So I might have to go to the game if it's going to be that time. But no, I think St Mirren's going to be interesting because how they're going to tell you after that loss on Saturday. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I think Robin Nielsen's got a lot to prove after the last 3 defeats we had before we won in Paisley.
The 3 defeats in a row is going to cost you the top 3. Those 3 defeats in a row, unless you bounce back, it's going to cost you because the past 3 games as well. It's not just the fact you've been beaten. It was the same as Robbie Nielsen when he got sacked the first time. He does not learn from his lessons. I don't know why Hearts went back to him. I really don't understand.
I don't get that either.
But he hasn't learned from his lessons. It gets him promoted, playing very good football, and then bang, that's it. And they just stale, and there's just no learning curve for him.
I know that's a worry as well because we are 11 points ahead of Dundee United, but in 28, like I said, in the next 10 so games, everything could happen, and that's what we're worried about the moment because I think, like I said, the one team I will have to be very careful of is Dundee, over the Dundee United, is how does Hibs respond because Hibs got a game behind. So now we have to be we have to be very, very better of trying to solidify third place, but it's not going to be easy as it's going to be. So I do worry about that towards the post-season split.
It's actually very tight. I'm just looking at the table now. It's actually very, very tight. Like down, like fourth. Fourth, you got a Hibs on 35, Dundee United 35, Motherwell 35, and then Livingston 34. Oh yeah, we moved down obviously because of Motherwell's draw at Ibrox. St Mirren 33, Aberdeen 32, Ross County 30, and then there's a wee gap with St Johnstone 23 and Dundee with 21. So you'd have to say that probably relegation at the moment is probably between St Johnstone, Dundee, and Ross County.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that one. I think Ross County, I think particularly that win that was this past weekend was very critical for them with St Johnstone losing. So I think, like you said, with Matt McGee at Dundee, I think they've already gone down. I think they've just lost the momentum was already gone most of the season. But I think looking at now where how Aberdeen is at the moment, Aberdeen can be saved under Jim Goodwin. I think he's right bad for the club for the time being because where they were going under Stephen Glass, I do not know. But I think Ross County needs to avoid the playoff hopes again, because that's the last thing they need. They want to solidify their place in the Scottish Premiership again. So I think time will tell now the next couple of games who's going to be really getting closer to the relegation spot. And
boy, that's a little bit harsh saying that. Livingston absolutely dominated Dundee from start to finish. So the fact that you're saying that we only won because the Leicester loanee Daly Campbell played for Dundee, I think that's a little bit disrespectful.
Dundee offered nothing in that. Dundee offered nothing in that game except, "Do you want a toothpick?" They offered nothing. They're so shit.
We will swiftly move on to the All European League. So obviously, as I'm back at host, George, we have to give our boy Salford City a bit of love. Salford City with a fantastic win in League Two with a 2-1 win over Swinton Town. Have you been keeping up with them?
Yeah, fantastic result. Just absolutely ecstatic and good to see them doing so well when United aren't. So
good. That's good.
Moving on to a club that actually plays football. Move on.
It's good to see George and I. It's good to see George and I have not lost our connection. We'll start off with a team that I have to say is doing very, very well for themselves. It is Barcelona, a 4-0 win at the Camp Nou over Atletico Bilbao. I'll go to you, Nathan. Xavi, Adama Traore, Aubameyang, Ferran Torres, and Moussa Dembele. Even Luke de Jong scored. It looks like the Xavi era well underway. It looks like he's turned the fortunes around at Barcelona.
He is. It's working really well, actually. And to be honest, under any other manager, I think that would have been a complete disaster. If I just look where they currently are in the Liga as well, and
they're just about the top 4. I think they're something in the league.
Yeah, just fourth now. So.
Yeah, fourth. I mean, they're way off Real Madrid, the likes of Sevilla as well, who pretty much look like they're going to finish second.
Yep.
Breathing down the necks of Real Betis, who are currently in third line. They've had a solid season as well. Game in hand, of course. Just got to continue to do what they're doing at the moment. gaining that momentum. I mean, looking at the stats, 72% possession, even though that means nothing. 7 shots on target, 17 shots in general. Superb. Just, I mean, the 4-3-3 is there. It's working perfectly. And yeah, they got a lot to look forward to. Bringing in the really good youngsters as well. Pedri's had another amazing game. Gavi has been slotting in there as well, around with Sergio Busquets just behind them as well. Lots to look forward to if you're a Barcelona fan, minus the off the pitch stuff as well.
George Olsey said Barcelona have been restricted to who they've been able to buy, but Xavi seems to be working wonders with the very limited resources. Aubameyang, I think it's 5 goals for Aubameyang and 3 appearances for Barcelona. It's if you can get that front free firing with a solid midfield and a defense that could probably hold up, Barcelona, they're not going to win La Liga, and they're most definitely favourites for the Europa League. But there's a lot of optimism if you're a Barcelona fan compared to where you were when Ronald Koeman was manager.
100%, yeah. Obviously, a fantastic result against a team that doesn't necessarily or doesn't tend to let in too many goals. Obviously, a lot of goals near the end. Ousmane Dembele was getting booed as he came on, but turned it all around with a sterling performance off the bench. Some great assists, obviously, within that performance, and yeah, fantastic result. Obviously, a bit too late now for any potential title charge. I think Real Madrid are far too far ahead of them now in terms of points. They're not going to overturn that. Obviously, it's between Real and potentially Sevilla. But yeah, good omens for Barcelona moving forward. And obviously, they are getting a lot of goals as well from the subs as well. So getting the goals back in the team. And as you said, I think Europa League is probably where they're looking for some silverware and some sort of redemption from what has been a very lackluster season up till this juncture.
Moving on to the Bundesliga.
I've just seen the Dortmund score. Why did they fucking bother?
Yeah, so I was just about to ask you about that.
Barcelona still have a game to play over Real Betis, by the way, and they've still got a game to play with Atletico, so they can go 2 points. They can go 2 points clear of Real Betis in their next game, I think, and they can go 3 points clear of Atleti. They've still got a game to play. They're only 9 points behind Sevilla, and they've played a game less. And they're 15 points behind Real Madrid. I'll say this now: Real Madrid aren't going to win this league by a big margin. They're going to win the league by at least 2 points. I think
bad.
Yeah,
so bad under Ancelotti.
I honestly reckon, I'm going to say this, might be a bit mad, but I think for the first time since maybe 2000, when it was Deportivo La Coruña, I think it was. Yeah. I'm going to say for the first time in 22 years, neither Barcelona, Real Madrid, or Atletico Madrid win the league this year. I'm actually going to say Sevilla take it at the bit. I'm actually going to.
That was a huge win, yeah.
That'll be mad.
Yeah, if Real Madrid win the league, it'll be by 2 points. But I think you'll have a new champion.
So they go West Ham.
Yeah, I think Sevilla will win the league. But if Real Madrid win it, it'll be by 2 points. It'll be so marginal because they are so poor. They've only lost 2 games all season, same as Sevilla. They've only lost 2 games.
I watched the Sofia Real Betis game on La Liga TV. Sofia and Real Betis is a massive derby in Spain. It's a rivalry between the two clubs.
Yes,
And Sofia were excellent. Just the way that team plays, everyone understands the rules. They press well. They play some really good football. And this is a Manuel Pellegrini team that I know even says the possession doesn't matter, and technically it's correct. But when a Manuel Pellegrini team finishes the first half with 28% possession, that shows everything about how good that Sofia team is at keeping the ball, winning the ball back. And Real Betis never got to sniff a goal.
Absolutely, mate.
I was going to ask a Doug question there, but he's away. So I'll go to you. Reece Leipzig winning at 1-0. Now, I said I don't watch the Bundesliga turn up, but I do know a lot about the Leipzig current coach, D'Amico Tedesco. I can't remember his name. He was the manager of Schalke when they were obviously in the top 5. I think he finished second with them in the league, got them into the Champions League. His final season at Schalke was a disaster, but Schalke was a disaster from beyond on in. He's clearly turned things around at Leipzig. You're 4th in the league compared to where you were under Jesse March.
Yep.
How things going for at Leipzig with this man on a good weekend?
Fantastic, mate. Like you said, we were 11th prior to him taking over. He wasn't even on the shortlist. Like he wasn't even on the final 3-man shortlist for the job, but he snuck his way in. Got given the job. Since then, climbed 7 positions. We're now in by proxy, because obviously with what's going on in Russia, we're now into the Europa League quarterfinals. We're also in the latter stages of the German Cup. We're the biggest team left, if you want to include Hamburg, like obviously from the bottom, like from the second division. But in terms of like big clubs left, there's no Bayern Munich, there's no Borussia Mönchengladbach, there's no Borussia Dortmund, there's no Frankfurt. Leipzig are the last big team left from the top level of the Bundesliga that's in the remaining competition. So I think this season, I'm going to put a hat on it. Dominic Tedesco, in terms of success, and this is going to be so funny concerning the managers that Leipzig have had since they've came up and all that as a club. Good managers like Hasenhüttl, Rangnick twice, Nagelsmann. Tedesco just needs to win 1 trophy, and he's already Leipzig's most successful manager. In terms of major honours,
Crazy.
as like the top level, Tedesco, even if he was to win either the Europa League or the DFB Pokal, he's got the most honours as a German manager, as a manager of that German club. I'll happily have that. Obviously, I love Nagelsmann, but I'll be proud for Tedesco because he's done really well.
The job that Tedesco did at Schalke that season when he finished second was remarkable. I remember watching some of the games, some of the football they played. He's a big fan of the back three system, but he plays a modern, good attacking back three system.
That's right.
I think he did a fantastic. The second season after that, things capitulated. They were near the relegation zone. They were getting hammered in the Champions League. But he seems to be a young, underrated coach. He clearly can do a very good job with a decent squad. So I'm glad to see he's doing well. Apparently he's got a really, really good character. He's really good in the dressing room.
He's so well spoken. I watched I watch it in German, but I watch the press conferences on the YouTube channel. And they're absolutely brilliant. Like the way he speaks, the way he conducts himself, he's so calm, composed. He can organise a defence, but he plays really entertaining football. It was no coincidence we won 6-1 last week. Like we started off really slow, and then as soon as we kicked into gear, it was goal after goal after goal after goal, and then a 1-0 win over Bochum, who gave Bayern Munich a ride of their life last week. It's funny how we can do it so easily, but Bayern Munich couldn't. And it's just a manner of controlling games in the right way, in the right manner. And he's playing players in their proper positions. That's what he's doing as well. It's something that, once again, Jesse Marsch couldn't do to save himself. And he's went away from a 4-2-3-1. He's playing a 3-4-1-2, and he's playing in Kunku further up. He's playing Szoboszlai as one of the partner strikers, but he comes back into a 3-4-2-1, and he plays 2 wide 10s. It rotates between those two. Whoever's playing up front with either Poulsen or Andre Silva, depending on rotation, they'll drop back and play with Nkunku as a 10, and it's always free-flowing. And it's no coincidence that we've went straight away from 11th to 4th, and we're latter stage of the Europa League, and we're fighting for the German Cup for the first time.
Carl, I'll come to you with this one. Borussia Dortmund, after not getting knocked out by Rangers, come up with a 1-1 draw against Augsburg. Borussia Dortmund seem to be struggling big time now. They are still second in the Bundesliga, though I don't think the Bundesliga this year is actually that competitive, especially the teams in around Borussia Dortmund. They're still second in the league, but I think it doesn't really show where they are as a football team. They seem to be struggling big time, outplayed by Rangers in both legs, struggling in the Bundesliga. It's a difficult first season for Marco Rose, but I think it shows this Borussia Dortmund team needs a big overhaul in the summer.
It does need a big overhaul completely, because I think you look at the last few years, since after Tuchel's left, I think they've just not been the same. They've been struggling. To be quite honest, when after Lucien Favre was there, during after what happened the season before, he just was not good enough last season. The way they were so inconsistent last season, that he made defeat to Stuttgart last season just cost it, and they will not be the same. And it's not a surprise that Haaland is likely he's going to be leaving, because it just sounds with these injuries, I can't see him playing most of the games till the end of the season. I think that his career at Dortmund will be done in the next couple of games once he comes back fully fit. I just feel like now that there needs to be a huge reorganization, rebuild at Dortmund. And then probably what's happened at Bayern Munich as well, we're now going to be a selling club. It looks like Dortmund will try to prize one or two of the players coming the other way around. So I think at the moment now, I think Michael Rose, I don't know what's going to happen to him to come at the end of the season, because it's not been good enough for what he did at Richard Gladbach is second to none. But now I think he's just struggled a little bit. I think he's kind of the players that he wants. I think it is going to be a change in the summer. I think he will get some of the players right. I think 1 or 2 players are going. Hollywood is going, but I think like Bellingham and Reina, I think they'll be gone too.
Nathan, so the final game we'll talk about Europe-wise is Bayern Munich beating Eintracht Frankfurt 1-0. But Bayern Munich are scraping, and I mean scraping along at the moment in the past few weeks. They were 1-0 down to the bottom of the league, of Bundesliga, who are pretty much doomed. And Bayern Munich had to come back and scrape their way through. You know, Bayern Munich are struggling at the moment. And there's a lot of question marks over Lewandowski's future as well. Nagelsmann's a fantastic manager, but this Bayern Munich team, and I welcome the Doug about this because Doug is Doug's our Bundesliga expert as well. This Bayern Munich team is nowhere near the levels they were under Hansi Flick, and Nagelsmann seems to be hitting a bit of a rough patch and probably the worst time of the season with the Champions League.
Absolutely. I mean, the 5 at the back, it has proven to be working this season. I think using Koeman, Pavard as the wing backs overlapping through. But aside from that, if you look at the stats, it does appear that they have been playing quite well. I mean, in their victory against Eintracht Frankfurt the other day, 21 shots, 9 on target. However, they just need to watch that defense, because if they're not careful with a team, especially who likes to attack and move forwards, then they could find themselves in trouble as well. And they're not finishing their chances either. That's just the product in that final third that they're really suffering with. And if they don't fix that moving forward, then it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And then you could see, say, for example, if Borussia Dortmund go on a good run knocking on the door, same with next season as well. Will it be the same? That is the question.
Yeah. I think
Doug,
it's already reported Nagelsmann's already sick to death at Bayern Munich already. He's already sick to death because they're not backing him properly. They've already done it to Hansi Flick. Now they're doing it to Nagelsmann, like the highest prospect manager in German football. Like, I love Nagelsmann. I hope he gets out of there. I feel sorry for him.
And Nathan, just like I said, they're now becoming an outside club. They can't even keep their players, and that's the doing for Bayern Munich.
Playing on midfield at left back as well. Like Sabitzer wasn't signed. Sabitzer wasn't signed to play left back. He was signed to play as a rotation with Goretzka.
Yeah,
so what the hell are they doing playing Sabitzer as left back? Because even when he's played there, he looks so uncomfortable.
Also
looking at it as well, saying that you have Koeman playing as a left back when actually he's a left winger. Like defensively, what does
Davies is a big loss? I think his injury is a big loss.
Upamecano has been a flop. I would say.
Yeah. Pains me to say it, but I have to agree. It's been absolutely shocking.
I mean, they're still playing Eric Choupo-Moting, which is the worst thing.
Well, Doug, what do you think about Nagelsmann, the Bayern Munich? Obviously, they were lucky to get a draw away to Salzburg, even though obviously away goals are no longer relevant in the European League, in the European games. Do you think Nagelsmann's? Do you think this is a rough patch, or do you see a bigger picture here that maybe him and Bayern Munich aren't quite a good fit together?
I think it's a bit of both, really. I think it's a bit of a rough patch, but you actually look at it as well. Bayern Munich have been scraping results recently, and they've had some very, very weird results this season. I mean, you can look back at, like, I think they lost to Augsburg 2-1. They lost to Mönchengladbach at home, who are having a really poor season. I don't know if this was this season or the season before. They got spanked 4-1 by Hoffenheim at home, away as well.
That was this season.
It was this season. So, the thing is, Dortmund haven't taken any advantage of, them slipping up. I mean, the gap is now, I think, 7 points. Even then, you look at it as well, and Bayern Munich could probably win the league anyway, but it will be a bit of a concern because, they have been really, really poor recently, Bayern Munich, but I think it's a lack of spending as well. And you know what? I'm actually glad Liverpool signed Konate than Upamecano. There was a lot of rumours potentially about Konate potentially going to Bayern Munich, but Konate went to Liverpool, and there was a lot of talk about Upamecano potentially going to Liverpool as well. But actually, I'm pretty glad we've got Konate because I think you and I have had this conversation, Reece. I think we both rate Konate higher than Upamecano.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of Upamecano, but I don't disagree with that comment. I think he is
Yeah.
far better. He's more composed on the ball. Upamecano is just... There's only a few clubs that he can actually play for that suit him as a football player. There's only a fair few. And I think realistically, his position really needs to change. That's one of his weaknesses.
Can I ask Nathan the question?
It's your channel. You don't have to ask anything. You don't have to ask anybody anything.
No, you're obviously host this evening, but yeah, you lost 1-0 against Fulham. How did Carvalho play?
I thought he was bang average. I didn't really see much of him throughout the match. There was a few times that, in particular, that I believe he went down as well. Time wasting. Was quite disappointed really with his performance. I was expecting a lot better, but in general, I thought Fulham were pretty poor.
Fulham have been poor for a few weeks now, to be fair. I've seen the results haven't been going their way, but that's the Marco Silva effect. He's just a bad manager.
They were very lucky, to be fair.
If anybody has any questions about anything football related or anything you want to ask anybody on the panel, please put your questions into the chat while you guys answer your questions. And it wouldn't be nice to have the end of the stream on a very, very quick FA Cup prediction. So I'll just read out the game and then all of you just give me what team you think's going to win.
Just quickly find the genie. Yes, I do. I do think Sevilla can challenge Real Madrid very closely. I think they could easily win the league if they wanted to.
We don't have time to go through all these games in depth, but I'll just intrigued to hear what your predictions are for these games. So starting off with poor Petersburg United, who are fighting for relegation in the Championship, taking on league leader Manchester City. Are we going to see the FA Cup magic in this one, Doug?
No. 4-1 City.
Nathan?
Yeah, 4-0 Man City.
Carl?
5-1 City.
5-1. Reece?
2-1 Man City.
Go on, George. Give us the upset.
I'm not going to, unfortunately. I think 5-0 Man City.
5-0.
Yous have all went high and I've gone low. This is very weird.
Crystal Palace host playoff catchers Stoke City. Michael O'Neill, obviously former Northern Ireland manager. Michael O'Neill is known to cause the upset as he did with Northern Ireland and as he has done with Stoke City. Doug, will he get the upset at Selhurst Park?
No, 2-0 Palace.
Nathan?
1-0 Palace.
Carl?
2-1 Palace.
Reece?
Love the Irish. 1-0 Stoke.
Go George, what about you?
2-1 Palace.
2-1 Palace. Onto the team that knocked out Manchester United. Chris Wilder going up against Antonio Conte. The two back three systems going at it. Obviously, Spurs, Bet City. Then they lost to Burnley, which Antonio Conte start questioning his own job, and then they go on and hammer out Leeds. So, Doug, what type of team's going to turn up for Antonio Conte's side at Middlesbrough?
I'm going to go 1-1, but I think Tottenham will sneak it in extra time.
Nathan?
Middlesbrough have had a blip. I mean, that performance against Barnsley the other day was woeful, considering Barnsley were only on 14 points at the time. Yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 Spurs. They should surely have it.
Carl?
2-1 to Spurs after extra time.
Reece?
3-2 Spurs, Kane hat-trick.
George?
I can't hear you, you're on mute.
You're mute!
You're on mute, Mr. Killboy.
2-1 Middlesbrough.
Ooh.
All right. Chelsea.
Someone else is taking the mantle for a change.
Chelsea travel away to Luton Town, who are probably pushing above expectations in the Championship this season under Nathan Jones. Luton Town's ground is a hell of a place to go to. If I'm not mistaken, you actually have to go through someone's back garden to get into the away
Yep, that's
stand.
correct.
So Chelsea are going to a hostile area. Doug, will Chelsea be 2 down in the heads after the League Cup final loss, or will he go push over Luton Town?
No, I think Chelsea will have too much for Luton. I'm going to give Luton a goal though, because I think Alan Campbell's been a very good signing for them from Motherwell. So I'll give him a goal, but I think Chelsea will be too strong. 3-1 Chelsea. Nathan?
I can see goals, and actually I can see 2 coming from Luton. I'm going to go 3-2 to Chelsea.
3-2. I was gonna kick out of stream Larry Land.
The Nathan Jones effect.
I'll go 4-1 Chelsea.
Reece.
You don't want to hear my prediction.
All right, thanks, Reece, for your help.
I'm going, in all honesty, I'm going Luton Town to score first, Chelsea to get a 90th minute equaliser, Luton Town win on penalties.
Whoa! Wow! Okay.
George.
2-1 Chelsea.
2-1 Chelsea. Okay, on to the Premier League tie between Southampton and West Ham at St Mary's, Doug.
Oh, I'm going to go 2-1 Southampton after extra time.
Nathan.
Southampton will inform me now. I think it's going to go to penalties with West Ham edging it.
Carl.
1-1 after extra time, but Southampton win on penalties.
Reece.
Hassenhill Masterclass, 4-0 Southampton.
Wow.
George.
3-1 Southampton.
And then on to the final game. Norwich will travel back to Anfield for the FA Cup. I believe, Doug, you're doing a watch.
Just ask mine now so I can get on with it.
I believe you're doing a watch along for this. How strong do you think Klopp will go, given there's league at the weekend after the League Cup final? Do you think he'll go strong?
I mean, the thing, poor old Norwich. I mean, they must be sick and tired of playing Liverpool right now. I mean, it's like what 3-0, 3-0, 3-1. I'll give them a goal, but even then, I think Liverpool will be way too strong. I'm going to go something like I'll go 4-1 Liverpool.
Nathan.
5-0 Liverpool.
Carl.
4-0 Liverpool.
Reece.
Liverpool 8, Norwich 0.
George, you know you want to say Norwich. Come on, you know you want to.
I think 5-0 Liverpool.
5-0. Okay. I didn't see. Let's have a look for any questions in the chat. Extra time of penalties. Which game are you talking about? Because we need to know. So
you have missed out one game. Everton Boreham Wood.
Oh yeah.
Boreham Wood to beat.
That must.
Boreham Wood 2-0.
That must be
1-0 Boreham Wood.
That must be on the Thursday. My bad. I completely missed that. Yeah, sorry. That's my bad. Everton. Everybody. Everton. Surely.
Surely,
No,
surely, Everton.
I'm going 2-0 Boreham Wood. Honestly, I'm going 2-0.
I'm going 1-0. I'm going 1-0 Boreham Wood, man. The way
Everton are shit, man. They don't deserve a cup run. Let Boreham Wood continue. 2-0.
I am going to
Up the
go.
Boreham's.
Oh gosh, I actually think they could get hammered. Do you know that? I'm going 3-0 Boreham Wood.
Wow.
So hang on. You were giving us the biggin, and now you're going 3-0 Boreham Wood. Make your mind up, boy.
I honestly think Everton don't need a cup run. Sorry, but
they can't have a cup run. Everton.
They cannot have a cup run because they're going to be
in too much
That's
trouble.
the problem. They can't do a win.
Yeah.
Right,
they don't deserve a cup run. They're managed by Spank Park. They don't deserve a cup run.
We've got a couple of questions from. We'll catch to the panelists. Do referees favour certain teams or anti-certain teams to the extent that certain fans can complain about them every week and be correct? So, what do we think? Do we think referees support certain clubs and are particularly biased one way compared to another team?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a yes to all. It's a yes to that. I mean, look at Man City.
This every week.
I mean, for me, obviously, it's a lesser two evils. Like Man City win the league and not Liverpool, but Everton got royally robbed because that's probably the first time in like all season I think that I can remember Everton have actually had a good game, except when they beat Arsenal. They haven't actually played well all season, so yeah, they got royally screwed. But it's a lesser of two evils. But I felt sorry for Everton. I felt that was a shame. They didn't deserve it.
Who are the most deluded fan base, and why is it Cardiff?
Ooh.
Swansea, just so arrogant, honestly.
Oh,
they spent 7 years in the Prem, win a minor trophy, and think they're the bee's knees. Come on, go back to your 14,000 rust bucket down West Wales.
Another question from Andrew Williams: most favourable referee in this weekend, Man City or Josh Taylor?
That was a joke with
Josh Taylor, 100%. Josh Taylor, and
I mean, to be fair, Josh Taylor is Scottish, but he was very fortunate to win that.
How the judge could score 114, 111 in favour
I
of him
know.
is absolutely ridiculous.
When
Obviously,
he got knocked down.
yeah, exactly. Like, obviously, seeing an Englishman get beat in Scotland is beautiful. It's the best thing going. But when they get screwed and when they get absolutely robbed in that way, it's ridiculous. Like, it was wrong. From the whole fight overall, from what I just remember, Josh Taylor only won that entire fight out of 12 rounds. He only won 3.
It's just 3.
Like, it was ridiculously bad. Like, how can you score him so highly to win that? Like, either the judges were bought and paid for, which, funnily enough, I said to my dad like 5 minutes before the fight ended, like, the only way that this fight ends is either Josh Taylor somehow knocks him out, which is not going to happen, or when it gets to the very end, Catterall's gonna lose by rigged judge decisions. And quite surprised it was a rig. It was disgusting. I know, like, it's a Scotsman winning up here, but end of the day, Catterall should have walked home undisputed champion. I feel sorry for him.
Mm-hmm.
So the final question from Chris. Now, be careful how we answer this, because obviously
Charlie.
This can be a very political question. So obviously, should Russia? So if anybody here is not aware, FIFA and UEFA made a collective decision today that all Russian national teams, women and men's, are not going to be participating in any World Cup qualifiers or the World Cup itself. So Russia is officially knocked out of the World Cup qualifying. The Russia women team are banned from the Euros next year in England, and all Russian teams in UEFA competitions. So as I already related to, Spartak Moscow were due to play RB Leipzig. They have now been kicked out of the competition, meaning RB Leipzig will get an automatic
bye.
next round. Listen, I'll answer this question. I've been following this whole situation. I think George has probably hit it on the head. At the end of the day, the only way you can attack this situation, I have to be careful how I answer this because of how political it is. The only way countries outside of Russia can deal with this situation is by hitting Russia in every single way possible. And one of those ways is by hitting the teams. It is unfair. It is unfair on Spartak Moscow that they've been in this situation, but you also have to remember that Russia are killing innocent people in Ukraine. So in fairness, it's only fair that Russia, in a sense, get that feeling back. If it's by the economy, if it's by sports, if it's by the lack of stock markets that Russia are able to go into now, it's too political for me to really go into on a football channel, especially a channel that isn't mine.
I'll gladly do it.
Especially a channel that isn't mine. I won't go into too much detail, but I think it is fair because Russia, even though it may not be, the people who are getting affected may not be responsible for what is happening. The only way you can hit Vladimir Putin, who is causing this, is by hitting him in the pocket and hitting his economy. And this is one way you do that. And it basically makes Russia completely disconnected from the rest of the country, which will only put pressure on Vladimir Putin. And the Russian people start turning on him, things could change. Things happen. If anybody else has any other way they want to answer that, go ahead. But it's a difficult question to answer without getting too political into it.
Well, to be quite honest with you, I think FIFA and UEFA just didn't know what to do after just differing until the IOC had to come out and told them, suggested, look, they have to be banned. And you know what? Especially with what's happened as well, especially with what's happened in Ukraine, it's shocking to see innocent people who are fleeing as refugees and go all over Europe. And for Putin not to realize that this is going to have an economic effect on your people, as well as the sports stars who just want to play sports and don't want to be in a situation they play for your country, but you're getting banned and they have to take the punishment, just simply as. And I think UEFA and FIFA just needed that sponsorship money from the Russians, because that's what's keeping them going. And they just took different until the IEC has had to make the decision to say, no, you can't do it. They can't play it. And I think FIFA and UEFA were pressured by the IOC, and they had to realize they had to do something about it by the end of today.
There is some news regarding another Russian. According to the Financial Times, Alisher Uzmanov, who co-owns USM Holdings and Megaphone, has had his assets frozen and a travel ban imposed from the European Union. Apparently, that's according to the Financial Times. That could affect Everton.
I will also will answer this for anybody who's obviously Roman Abramovich released a statement, obviously on the Chelsea Football Club on Saturday night, basically to try and help everybody understand. Basically, what Abramovich has done is he's basically put all the ownership and responsibility of Chelsea Football Club onto the charity, the Chelsea Charity Foundation. What that basically means is that if Roman Abramovich gets sanctioned by the UK government that he can invest money into the football club, it will not affect Chelsea's running of the organisation since he's passed that ownership on to the other player. But the big issue is that all of Chelsea's charity foundation are actually going to resign from their position because they are not accepting Roman Abramovich's ownership of the club. So Chelsea, Roman Abramovich is not selling Chelsea. He's not fell out with Chelsea. He is just, in the odd chance that Chelsea gets sanctioned, he's protecting the club. Whatever your opinions are on Abramovich and whatever Russian connections he has is independent to that, but
Russian connections. The guy literally took the money from the country. He could literally, he could be the reason you could get liquidated. That's a fact.
It's too political for me to get into, but I think he's just protecting the club. It's nothing more than that. It's really like a PR move. Probably the best way to put it. It's nothing more than a big ass PR move that basically looks like he's protecting the football club. He's not going to sell Chelsea. There's no chance of that. So that brings the end to the World of Football podcast. I've thoroughly enjoyed being here. This is the first proper podcast I've been on and sent off this year, and the first one I've hosted probably about 2 months. I have been extremely rusty, but thank you, Doug, for keeping your trust in me, even though I still haven't done this in ages. But it was good to be back. Hope you enjoyed it. It's been good talking to you again. So I don't really talk to much of you anymore since I do my own thing. Thank you, Doug, for having me on as a host again, and I look forward to.
Absolute pleasure, and it's great to see you back as well. I am actually off next week, so I'm not actually working. Next Monday, so that'll be a big relief as well. Great to get Carl on the panel as well, which is always nice to see as well. Me and him are, I think, appearing on Rich Sports about 10 o'clock tonight. Yeah. So obviously tune into that as well. But no, great podcast again, and no, it's nice to get you back on, and hopefully we'll get you on more often than not. But I fully back what you've done, having a wee break. It's always nice to have a wee break in between as well. So no, just take care of yourself, and obviously we're all here for you.
Thank you very much, Doug. I appreciate your words. Nathan, anything come up on your channel that you would like to give a shout out for?
Yeah, tomorrow night, Cardiff City versus Derby. Really important game for us. Got a feeling we'll be able to win. And a big question, I know Andrew's going to slaughter me in the comments. When are we going to have a decent referee? Please say he's going to be on our side tomorrow, hopefully. But yeah, that'll be out Wednesday night. And yeah, maybe live stream on Saturday as well for Cardiff QPR, since it won't be going. I'm not paying £33 for a restricted view. That's disgusting. Yeah, thanks for having me on as usual, guys.
What?
What? Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a good question.
£33 for a restricted view.
£33 for a restricted view.
We sit behind the Carlsberg humans.
I have no idea. But
Just to say, Chris, it was not a silly question. It's a completely legitimate question to ask. Obviously, if innocent people within a Russian football club should be excluded from European competitions, but is it just the answer to it is political? But your question was perfectly fine. It's just the question goes way more into things that aren't football related. It dives way deeper than that. So it's a hard one to answer. Your question wasn't silly. It's just a really hard one to answer. Especially
and we're always give an honest answer.
We will do.
Especially on the football channel. It can cause so much debate when you get too much into it. Carl, I think this is the first time I've ever been on the same podcast with you. You're an absolutely amazing guy. I love your enthusiasm. Apologies, I didn't actually ask you about any Scottish questions. I didn't realize you were a Scottish fan. Most people that Doug has on don't really I know. That's why Nathan and George didn't get any questions, because they don't follow it. So I do.
That's no problem. That's no problem, because it's only it took me at least 7 years to get a Scottish football team since I moved on to Edinburgh. So since 2 years ago, I've been sporting hats. So yeah.
It's true.
But thank you for. I hope to be on more podcasts with you, especially on this one. It was an absolute pleasure meeting you. And since Leeds are nowhere near Chelsea, I wish Leeds all the best.
Thanks, I appreciate that. I hope you don't even win the Champions League or get out of the top 4.
Well, we're going to win the Champions League again. You know, we're apparently we're a good cup team. Reece, see, me and you usually we've had our usual arguing, bitching and disagreeing, except for actually agreeing on Jesse March. I hope you're keeping well. Hope your job's going well. I hope you're still getting your ass kicked on FIFA. Is there anything people should be aware about you that is of any interest?
Me getting my ass kicked on FIFA. Do you even watch my streams?
Yes, you can't defend.
Coming from you. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but the difference is at least I can get a 600 view stream on one. I did first live stream on YouTube in like 6 months, and I get 600 views. So then they come at me for your bollocks we can't defend. Like pure that. Well, mental state far better than what it was last week. I'm actually going on YouTube tonight. In fact, open forum for anybody, either PlayStation or Xbox. If you want a game, just message me and I'll actually give you a game and it'll be streamed. I promise not to embarrass you. But other than that, it's business as usual and a flashing screen. So yeah, stay safe, stay frosty, and up to Ukraine. Support them.
I absolutely echo those final words. George, there's no point in shouting George's social media out. You won't get much of an answer from him. He's a man who just appears on a podcast on a Monday night, gives his opinions, and disappears for a week. So, George, anything exciting come up in your week, or is it just the usual work and you're going to watch all the FA Cup action?
Pretty much that, yeah. Thank you as always for having me on. Great to see you back as well, Josh, obviously. And yeah, it's been a fantastic show. And thank you once again to the viewers as well.
It's not the light, it's just the camera's a bastard.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't do lights. You know, I don't have a light too fixed. You know,
my camera's like the best way to sum up my laptop's camera. My laptop's camera is equivalent of Man United's attack. It has its moments, and then it decides to just start flashing. It works sometimes, and it has an absolute bastard the next. I've got a good light. My light's good.
Go ahead, George. Finish what you were saying.
Yeah, but fantastic stream as always. Thank you so much to all the viewers as well. Always your comments mean such a lot to all of us. Obviously, fantastic to see the channel grow as well. Obviously for Doug, and yeah, keep tuning in, keep liking, sharing, subscribing. Thank you. Good night.
Well, George just finished my final words. I don't have to repeat that.
Apparently, Swansea have now gone past the 7-hour mark since they last scored away from home.
Fantastic.
Straight in there.
That's a perfect TikTok. I actually remember. Actually, I do have one thing, Carl. I told you I was meant to do this earlier. Please, Carl, can you give us our final thoughts and prayers for this amazing man?
Oh, yeah, do you know what? Especially he wasn't there the first season, but the second season, I have to say he's been a very good translator for Bielsa. Boy, we're not going to have him.
Do you know what his name is?
I do. I can't remember, but I do know. It begins with an S, and I think it's either Samia or something. So I'm going to try and find it out because a lot of people have been talking about that. So yeah, he will never be forgotten.
All right, that's
he'll never be forgotten. Everybody, thank you for watching.
I thought his name was Defense Avoider.
Everybody, thank you for watching. Everyone, thank you for watching the World of Football podcast. We'll be back next Monday night when a lot more action has happened. Hopefully, we'll be better news within the Ukraine-Russian situation. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, Chelsea are into the next round of the FA Cup, and Norwich somehow pull off the upset at Anfield.
And hopefully, Milan win the derby in the cup semi-finals.
And then hopefully Manchester United keep going back and shit so we get George's rants back because that's that's kind of what we're missing out. Everybody, thank you for watching and enjoy the rest.